Good morning, everyone. Going to go ahead and get started here in just a few minutes. Give it just a couple more minutes. Let a couple more people get into the room. Looks like we may have a smaller group than we typically have, which was kind of expected with the holiday. So we actually may be able to do a little bit more custom questions and things like that, but we'll give it just a couple of minutes. Because we have a smaller group, I actually just allowed talking permissions. Typically, we don't just because we have so many folks on here. But I did. I'm not sure where everyone is at, but I did allow you guys to open your mic. We'd love to get a little interaction or just a little more custom, if that makes sense for you all this morning. Gladys, how you doing this morning? George, how you doing this morning?
Fine, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great.
Doing great. Thank you for asking.
Good. Tim, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Perfect, perfect. Where are you calling in from, Tim?
Highland, Michigan.
Man, I'm a Lansing man myself, actually. It's been a you go green or go blue?
I go neither.
Oh, who do you go for, or do you not care?
I don't have a dog in this fight. No.
Yeah, I'm a big go green. It's been interesting with those with Michigan State. Hopefully, Michigan can pull it off for the state. We'll see what happens, man.
Mhm.
And Tim, what industry are you in, sir?
I'm within the cybersecurity industry.
Great, great. Are you familiar with a company called NetApp by chance?
No, I'm not.
They're a fairly large publicly traded, a very large publicly traded IT security company. They do hybrid cloud management, data management, some things like that. They're actually one of our largest clients in what we do on the LinkedIn space and things like that. So we have a good amount of experience in your space, actually.
Nice. I'll have to look into them a little bit.
Well, so we have two options. And like I said, with the group this small, I do have something put together for us, but at the same time, George, Tim, do you guys have any specific, we can definitely get this started off with, do you guys have any specific questions about LinkedIn, how it affects your business or anything that we could spend that time and talk about today? With a smaller group, I love to be able to give more direct applicable information if possible, but if not, I do have stuff prepared for us today.
Not for me personally. I would just follow your normal schedule.
Okay.
Presentation. Yeah.
Perfect. Tim, what about yourself?
Same here. Feel free to just roll through what you have and I'll see if any questions come up.
Boom. That sounds like a plan. This is going to be a little content heavy today. It's not as many examples as we typically would bring in, but please interrupt me. Please stop me. Like I said, I've unmuted everybody's mic. Like I said, with groups like this, I figure like that's the best use of everyone's time. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And again, Tim, I know Gladys and George are familiar with me, but just a quick introduction of myself, sir. My name is Lorenzo Johnson. I'm one of the partners here at Socially In. Socially In is a full service social media management agency, but we do have a division called Social Selling, which just focuses on an entire product and service suite surrounding LinkedIn. So we do this once a month, the last Tuesday. So feel free to join us as often as you can. The subjects change. They'll go everything from lead generation, nurturing, thought leadership, business development, all types of different things.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Today, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. So today, we're going to talk about 10 LinkedIn marketing features, 10 very specific features that LinkedIn has rolled out that are very useful for business, especially in that B2B space, which good thing everyone on this call is in. Number one, host long form written content on platform with articles for LinkedIn pages. So again, that's a lot. So let me break that down for you all. LinkedIn has two huge content changes concerning long form content that is going to be awesome. One was implemented in June. One is, well, they both were implemented in the past. One was just implemented in October. The first one, LinkedIn has now more than doubled the character limit for posts. More than doubled. It used to be 1184 or something like that. Now it is up to 3,000. So a couple things that we encourage you now to be able to take advantage of with that extra space: industry shifts and trends, potential solutions, not just yourselves, not just the services and solutions that your company specifically provides. That's something that we've been talking about a lot over this series, is truly being an industry expert and a resource on LinkedIn like people want to do. It really takes a blend of that first party thought process or thought leadership and expertise and third party. Yes, if you're an expert, people want to come and hear your voice, but being a true resource, provide other trusted sources. That's how you can create your page to be a destination page for a resource for people. Pose complex questions. This is another tactic that really helps increase engagement that we've really been stressing. Questions. Everything doesn't have to be, oh, this is the problem the market has, come back to my company because we solve it. Everything doesn't have to be that way. Engage people, ask questions. How are other people dealing with the new problem that you're having in your industry? Is anybody else seeing this trend? And what are they doing to affect that? Pose complex things that get people talking, get people engaging. And share company news. That's another underutilized form. Again, people are always talking about, again, just their clients and a number of different things like that. But one of the things we've been talking about is how to make LinkedIn personable. How to make it personable. In the land of all of this automation that's going on, how to make it personable. Well, share company news, great employee stories, customer success stories, different things like that, so that people can really feel like they're starting to get to know your company. Those things are really important. People want to get to know the owners of companies and engage, but there's much more competition in all of our industries than there's been before. The second big shift and the second big adjustment for long form content is now LinkedIn has extended what used to be called their article feature. So essentially, when you used to be able to post articles, they had the largest character limit. You can now post articles with long character counts. And by long, we mean 100,000 characters, the equivalent to a long blog, now on your company pages. So now you can write and you can publish articles directly from your company pages up to 100,000 characters. So now LinkedIn can be the place that holds your blog as well. That was a really big deal for people who had blog posts. Was there was this whole concept, and it's a great concept of creating micro content. Part of that creation of micro content was because there were limitations. You had to create micro content. And yes, there's some strategic advantages to it, but now this is a good place where you can essentially replicate your entire blog promotion strategy and things like this. So this is some really big changes concerning long form content on LinkedIn. Any questions about that by chance? We can take it a little step by step. Okay, number 2. Sharing downloadable content collections with LinkedIn Carousel. LinkedIn Carousel. So we've talked about this a few times. So this is a next level feature of LinkedIn Carousels. But now one of the things that you are able to do, which is extremely cool, is LinkedIn Carousel posts can put up to 100 slides. 100 slides. And each call to action and each slide can have a prompt to download for more content. That is where the key piece is. So again, carousel posts and collections have now increased in the quantity that you can, but now you can actually have a prompt where people are clicking on it, and where people want more information, they can get downloadable content right there. Or 300, I'm sorry, 100 was the old number. I apologize, so sorry. 300 slides, 300 slides. So now your presentations can literally go as in-depth as you like them to go. Now, best practices. We do like to talk best practices on these calls. Best practices is sticking to 10 pages or fewer. 10 pages or fewer. One of the things we know is that there are some similarities between the social platforms, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the LinkedIns, but then there's other things where we want to be cognizant of the individual platform themselves. So again, on LinkedIn, it's not Instagram. People aren't looking to go through a 300 slide, for example. They're looking for quick resource, thought leadership. How can you help me with something, digestible information, and then allow me to come back to you when I feel appropriate? So what we like to say is 10 pages of fewer, concise, and obviously always include downloadable content so that you can get them in your ecosystem. You can continue to engage with your prospects. And one last thing that I wanted to add on to that is that they are made for downloading now. And that was one of the big differences. You can essentially have people download a different piece of content on every slide, you guys. It's extremely cool. LinkedIn audience polls. LinkedIn audience polls. This is one thing, again, that we're talking about. Working the algorithm. We talked algorithmic things that can help affect the algorithm a couple sessions ago, and this is something else that we're going to keep hammering. Boosting engagement is one way that you can do to work the algorithm. Audience polls is one of those things. Again, you heard me say on a couple slides ago, engagement needs to be creative. It needs to be multifaceted. It needs to actually address what we talk about as far as our 3 different audiences: your cold, your warm, and your hot. So again, when you're thinking through all of these different features, audience polls is one great way to get awesome, genuine engagement. So we always like to give you guys a few different examples and really take actionable information. So there's 4 really good polls that we've seen that have been working very well. Number 1, gauging your audience's opinion about something. Gauging your audience's opinion, not asking them to buy your service, not asking with them to engage because you have something, but getting your audience's opinion. One of the things we know in social media, people love talking and people love giving their opinion, whether it's solicited or not, actually. Number 2, learn about your audience's challenges. Learn about your audience's challenges. So let me give you a practical way that we here at Socially In, we use this. We run a social selling group, which if you guys are not a part of, please join on LinkedIn. And one of the ways we actually gather topics for these calls is we run polls. So we don't assume we know what our audience is looking for, even though we do. Sometimes we validate that, and sometimes we ask, what can we talk about next month that you will find valuable? So learn about your audience's challenges. Find out about their goals. When you understand your prospects and your audience's goals, now you can craft content, strategy, engagement to make sure that you can help them accomplish that. It goes back to the old adage in sales of solving problems. Try not to sell services and products, and try to solve problems. Talk to your audience about the problem that you help solve. So again, how can we find out about their goals leveraging audience polls? And then last but not least, another fourth idea is assess your audience's knowledge of or experience with something. So again, these are all various ways that you can use polls. But again, we encourage you to take all of these different strategies when appropriate in your business, because they all will address and help different facets of your business development, frankly. Last but not least, you do get to keep the information from the responses, obviously. So the data collection aspect of that is awesome. But the other thing is that LinkedIn has some re-engagements that are automatic. And that's one of the other things that we love with them. When a poll finishes, they actually notify the results of everybody who applied or who reached out and everything. And as you can imagine, you can have a whole strategy to re-engage with not only thank you for your feedback, but now here's what we're going to do with the information you just gave us right there. Really keeps people into your ecosystem. Any thoughts or questions about that? Number 4, LinkedIn is allowing you to be very, very customizable and really hold the control with all of your settings. One of the new settings that they have really just opened up all control over is managing your public conversations. So a number of different things you will start to see. And the reason that we bring this up is because, I made the comment earlier about this land of automation. There is a ton of automation that's going on in the LinkedIn space. And sometimes it's hard to cut through that clutter. Well, leveraging your comment sections can actually help you start to cut through that clutter, make sure that your profile stays qualified, because again, you don't want a bunch of spam and a bunch of things on your profile as well. That'll also discourage people from engaging with you. So you can disable comments if you would like to. You can actually click and determine who are the people who can comment on your post. For example, if you want only people who you are first degree connections with to comment, you can do that. So we encourage you to really go through the comment settings and just the settings at all, and look at a number of the ways they're offering you control to control what your audience sees, how your audience engages with you. The other thing, you can also control who even sees the comments to begin with. We work with a number of serial entrepreneurs, people who work with multiple businesses that frankly are completely opposite. There is no overlap for them. One of the things they have concerns with is, Lorenzo, how do I talk to one audience without making the other audience feel that I'm no longer in that space, or I'm giving information that's inappropriate or not relevant? Well, LinkedIn allows you to control that now, because now, say you have two very different audiences and you really want to make sure that those strategies are different and don't overlap, you can do that. You can have whole posts only go to a certain audience that they see right there. So this is really, really beneficial for all of those serial entrepreneurs or folks who are working in different spaces. LinkedIn Live. This is going to be awesome. Full transparency. You have to apply for, you have to submit an application to be eligible to do LinkedIn Live. It is not a feature that everyone is allowed to do. We can help you submit those applications if anyone has questions about that, but you can now live stream on LinkedIn, and it is really going to change the game. Again, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. The personality being personable on LinkedIn is not lost. And it's something that LinkedIn is actually doing concerted efforts to make sure that they're bringing it back and putting a focus on. Live videos are one of those ways to really put the personality and personable back into LinkedIn. It's going to be awesome. One quick tidbit that we've been talking about, again, in this same space of being a real person is, and it's going to sound counterintuitive, but we've actually been recommending with these videos that they're not perfect. We've actually been recommending that you leave some of the that you leave some of that stuff in there. Again, one of the things that we've seen is that videos that are almost too perfect, again, give off the sense of this robotic, automated type of piece. Videos where people are stumble over a little bit and things like that, as ironic as it sounds, people connect with those because they see the person. And so I just wanted to spend some time there because this can really change the game. However, you will have to submit an application. So this has been actually around since about 2019. But again, they're just now really rolling it out for their public too, but there still is an application. There still is an application process. But LinkedIn Live, for example, the pandemic isn't slowing down. We're in California over here. Things are still very much shut down over here as opposed to where they're at in Georgia. So virtual events are going to be a big thing in 2022, whether we like it or whether we don't. It's just that simple. It's about adapting and pivoting, and LinkedIn Live is going to be a great way to host real-time virtual events in 2022. Get in front of that, submit your application now so that we can start to think through what that strategy is going to be like. Video, again, we've talked about video and the personality, so we won't keep hammering that in. But even if you do not invest in live streaming, LinkedIn also has just straight up native video that you can leverage. Full transparency. A lot of the video features are only available on mobile. Some of them are only available in the LinkedIn app itself. So I do encourage, if you guys have not, download that LinkedIn app, download the mobile version, because there are video features that you can do, but you cannot do them on desktop yet. You can only do them on mobile or do them on the app. Why is that important? Video is the most shared content on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has put out research that says that users are 20 times more likely to share a video post than just a standard written content post. 20 times more likely. We've already talked about why the trend is only going to get more aggressive. Video is the way that we should all be going. Some technical things, just so you know. LinkedIn video supports up to 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Again, no, we do not recommend 10-minute videos. There are times when it is appropriate. But as you can imagine, we're going to recommend closer to 15, 30, or 60. There are times when longer form content, that 3 to 5 minute video is appropriate. But we do encourage you that if you're going to have a 10-minute video, absolutely have a strategy, but more importantly, have a strategy of how you're going to break that down into micro content 100%. Any questions or comments about anything? Perfect. LinkedIn product pages. LinkedIn is continuing to increase all of the capabilities and features on their product pages. They rolled this feature out. I apologize for my timeline. I believe it was around the summertime when we first started talking about LinkedIn product pages and some of the updates and some of the really big pushes that they're having for it. But if you are a B2B or a B2B software provider, Tim, this is something that you and your company may potentially want to look in if you're not already leveraging it. For example, LinkedIn allows you to build product pages and feature your offerings. It's really cool. Unlike the showcase pages, and again, if you're not familiar with showcase pages, we can have a call about that. We're not going to talk about that today. But it's really set to highlight the tools. So for software providers, folks that we have an automation tool, for example. Again, we do have a lot of these tools. It's a great way to leverage that. There's 5 things that you can do on a product page that Yes, some of these you can do in some capacity on the showcase, but the product page really allows you to leverage it much better. Number one, explain what your product does. Include listing features and benefits. Number two, describing who the product is for. And this is where it gets awesome. You can tag job titles associated with the product, you guys. Number three, you can upload media, screenshot, demo videos, all of that. It's a true product page. Think Amazon, think Shopify, think those things. It is a smaller version of that. And if you have a LinkedIn strategy, it could be very, very beneficial for you all. Testimonials, so you can highlight customers' social proof statements. And last but not least, you can have a very aggressive CTA, call to action, which can prompt people to not only try, but get demos and different things like that. So for software providers, unlike Showcase, which is a little more specific for products, I would argue, again, they call it business units, for services, product pages are really, really great for your services, for software providers, for different things like that. One of the really cool things is that, last note, product pages automatically display add as a skill button. So one of the really cool things is as your customers are buying, they can actually click that, reflect their expertise with your software on their page. So how cool is this? Imagine if every single customer you had actually had a denotation of the fact that they use your software on their LinkedIn. Imagine the low-hanging fruit that can grab. Number 8, 3 more tips, you guys, 3 more tips. Number 8, creator mode. Creator mode, where we've talked about creator mode in the past. That is another thing that we're going to keep reiterating as far as a feature that needs to be leveraged in 2022. If it's important to be a thought leader or expert, which in a lot of our B2B spaces, it is. Again, a lot of us aren't not in that B2C space right now. Creator mode. One of the really cool things that you can do. This is something we are helping create with our profiles. To keep it very simple, one of the things that you're going to be able to do is take certain accesses or certain pieces of your profile, so your areas of expertise, for example, different things, and add them into your profile and your personal profile. So now there isn't going to be this stark distinction between a personal profile and now a company profile. Personal profiles are selling. We sell entire services and products that only leverage a personal profile. They don't even touch a company profile. This is now LinkedIn's response in helping create more of a middle ground for those two things. For example, your featured content can now appear right under your bio. So not only do you have this awesome bio that talks about you, but now those articles, those expertise, the things that we talked about that separates you from your competitors, and now your customers can see that. They don't have to go to your personal page, click on your company page and do different things like that. It's awesome. The other thing is that they are going to treat it again. It allows people to follow you rather than just connect with you. It allows you to be that thought leader for people who just want to engage with the content that you're having. It will help you grow your network. Again, thought leadership isn't always about selling. We know that. It's about nurturing, being a resource for people. So for everyone who's leveraging their personal profile, creator mode is only going to get more and more integral into your sales process. And again, we will continue to talk through creator mode as LinkedIn rolls out more and more features for it. Creator mode also automatically gives you access to LinkedIn Live. So again, as we continue to roll out more tools for individual profiles, we'll continue to talk about this multiple different times. We'll talk creator mode a lot as we roll out, learn it, and see what more LinkedIn is offering in that space. And on your personal profile, to turn it on, there is a space called called Creator Mode. Called Creator Mode. Again, if you guys have questions about this, I can show you all after the call how we can go through and find examples of everything that we talked about, including turning it on Creator Mode on your profile. Last 2 tips: delivering timely communications with LinkedIn newsletters. This is really cool. Now, when you set up Creator Mode, and again, one of the things that LinkedIn does, just going to take a step back. One of the things that LinkedIn is extremely smart about doing is they stack a lot of their features on each other. Give you a really good example. Once you get access to Sales Navigator, which is another paid feature, the opportunities and service that you can do through LinkedIn just skyrockets. You can do a ton of. LinkedIn is continuing to do that because they're a business. So if you'll notice, the last 2 tips we've talked about are all based upon having and turning on Creator Mode. So again, we'll continue to walk through that holistic strategy, but it used to be only invitation only. It used to be invitation only to do LinkedIn newsletters. Now, once you turn on Creator Mode, which literally just happened in this past November, you can now do LinkedIn newsletters. It's going to be awesome. We're still learning a little bit about this right here, so we will continue to speak on that. But again, once you turn on Creator Mode, if you are already sending out a monthly newsletter, this is going to be a great strategy for you to already incorporate. You already have the content. Use another distribution channel. Again, we've talked about it similar to email. So they can include anything from content snippets from your latest blog post. You can get subscribers directly to your newsletter. So now you can have email subscribers and newsletter subscribers. And whenever you publish, they will automatically get a notification about that. And then last or not least, LinkedIn Services Marketplace. LinkedIn Services Marketplace. This again just was launched in October. They are still rolling it out. This is going to be potentially game changing. LinkedIn is now making it easy to offer professional services right from your profile. It's going to be awesome. You can now find freelancers, consultants, and all of those things that Fiverr and a lot of these other platforms are already doing. You're going to be able to do that directly through LinkedIn without leaving the service. So when you go through that services marketplace, you can find everything from accounting, finance, software development, writing, all of that. You can create RFPs. You can contact people directly. So imagine on the other side of that, you can place your services here. So now you can place your services and have people find them and scope them out without doing any work. LinkedIn is really making it an awesome place to keep doing business at. That's why we love it so much. And then last but not least, if you are looking for clients, which a lot of us are, there is going to be an option called Open To. And once you create your service page, you can literally request interviews and reviews from clients. It'll tell people, it'll give people prompts. So now when people are looking for software development, IT security, you are now open to clients finding you right there. So LinkedIn Services Marketplace was literally just launched a month and a half ago. That is the latest feature that absolutely needs to be taken advantage of going into 2022. What questions, or do you all have any questions, comments about what we just went through today?
Personally, sorry, I don't know if someone else wants to speak. Personally, I don't have any questions, but there's quite a few features that probably I would like to learn more, like, like the product page and, how LinkedIn is evolving, but I'm sure we'll be discussing, often.
Absolutely. And George, one of the great thing is, as we continue to work through a number of the projects that we're working on right here, let's absolutely get time on the calendar and talk through how we can incorporate a number of the things that we just talked about into some of the specific things you and I have been talking about rolling out.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
Tim, what about yourself, sir?
Well, Lorenzo, I wanted a couple of very brief questions. I want to jump back to the LinkedIn Live feature that you referenced. And is there a best practice in terms of the frequency of using that capability? It seems to me you wouldn't want to overuse it because then it kind of loses its excitement and shine. So I don't know if there's a kind of an industry standard for the frequency of using that.
So that's a great question. We're still working on what our standard's going to be. Again, it's a feature that is just now kind of being rolled out. So we've been doing two suggestions, either once or twice a week. If you are going twice a week, we are encouraging it to be set. We're encouraging it to be set. So what do we mean by that? Basically, we also are encouraging a strategy that leads to the promotion of those and have it recur so that people can expect to see it and know that you're going to be there consistently. Otherwise, we're recommending once a week. We are not recommending more than twice a week to start. That is also because, Tim, we recommend a pretty comprehensive and holistic LinkedIn strategy. You should be posting and doing some of the other things that we talked about in between those videos. So if you're appropriately posting content like you should, posting articles like you should, sharing other third-party resources like you should, and videos, you shouldn't have capacity to do more than 2 a week. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
Because otherwise, at that point, you're getting into posting 2-3 times a day, and that's not what you want to do.
So looking more for that balance of all of the tools and capabilities.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, thinking through, and I just gave a whole talk on this and because it gets pretty complex when you really want to create a holistic strategy. And to keep it simple, I talk through how there's a cold audience that you need to make sure you have an engagement strategy for. Again, so those are prospects who fit the demographic of who you're looking for, but they don't know they need you. They may not even know that you exist. They're just there and they're there. Warm. These are people, again, in your ideal market, and they have engaged with you. They have touched base with you. Hot. These are individuals that you are ready to convert. Now, having a strategy for each of them. When you start to put that whole strategy together, Tim, like I said, you will find that you don't have space for more than 2 videos. Otherwise, it's just going to be very convoluted and just a bunch of information.
That does make great sense. I appreciate that. The other question that I have relates to the last 3 things that you mentioned, talking about the creator mode, talking about the newsletters, talking about the marketplace. Are any of those, or are they paid features? Are they features that are available unpaid?
So as of right now, I believe creator mode is unpaid. However, one of the things that you said that I didn't take into consideration is if you needed Sales Navigator to get that, because Sales Navigator is paid. You get what I'm saying? So I'm going to make that note because all of my research assumed the usage of Sales Navigator. So before I truly tell you that it's unpaid, let me confirm that it's not unpaid because you have a Navigator subscription. You get what I mean by that?
Yes.
Yeah, so I want to say unpaid, but let me just confirm because there may be a caveat to that by saying, well, you got to have Sales Navigator, which you do got to pay for. So let me.
That makes sense.
Tim, could you do me a favor, please? Could you drop your email in the chat so that when I do get that information, I can make sure I get back to you, please?
Oh, absolutely. Certainly.
Boom. Any other questions, gentlemen? Well, thank you very much. I'm just going to drop 2 links into here as we are wrapping up, you guys. I really appreciate your time. The 2 links are going to be, please join our YouTube page whenever you get a second, if you would like. We put all of these recordings on YouTube. So our channel is just simply Socially In. And like I said, I can get this over to you guys if you would like. Oh, should be in my. Put these in the chat for you. Sorry, I thought I had these open already. So we have a channel specifically on here. It is called Social Selling. It literally houses all of the webinars that we ever do, all of our speaking engagements. So I will put that in the chat. And then last but not least, on LinkedIn, we do have a group called Social Selling with LinkedIn. We do not sell in there. All we literally do is put tips, article features, recordings of different things like this. Again, polls about what are you looking for. So I encourage you all just to look at those and join those whenever you get a second, just because they'll just continue to be a resource. And like I said, I will be downloading and I will be uploading this webinar to our YouTube channel if you do have questions or want to review what we just talked about. If we do not, I'll just check one more time for chat. I saw we had a couple people who joined a little late. Michael and Fatima, do you all have any questions or comments or anything before we pop off by chance?
This was great. Thanks a lot. I appreciate your time and sharing all that information.
You're very welcome. Fatima, any questions or anything by chance?
No, you've been super clear. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Well, I just put my email. Oops, I just realized that all of those chats went to just myself. So let me put these in here. I also put my email in the chat if anyone does have questions or wants to talk through how specifically any of these things can really help them. They got questions about creator mode or any of that. So I'll leave the chat open for just a little bit longer so you can grab the links to those channels and pages. And my email, as always, I appreciate everyone. We will be, stay tuned for the December webinar. Typically, these are held on the 4th Tuesday. With the holiday season, we are going to have to move that up. So we haven't decided kind of quite yet. Stay tuned. Otherwise, beginning in January, like clockwork, 4th Tuesday, 9 a.m. Central, every single month. I appreciate everybody's time and I hope to get to see you soon. I'll stay on here for just a few more in case anybody has questions or needs to grab those things from the chat. I appreciate and hope everyone has a great rest of their day and their week.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Have a good day.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, Gladys, stay on for me.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, so I'll get Tim the response. So here's something that I was thinking today when I was making this. I'm actually going to take some time and digest this. We need to be doing some of these. Like, for example, the newsletter feature that they just rolled out, we should definitely be taking our email and putting out a newsletter. You know what I mean? Oh, can you hear me? Gladys, can you hear me?
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me, Gladys?
Not clear. Not clear.